Hello everyone, Trophy Wine Hunter. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm doing a re-review of a 2017 Bordeaux vintage. This is Clos Floridene. So this was one of the first videos that I produced when I first started this channel about 3 years ago. It was quite terrible, so I'm going to actually delete this from the system, and this is a re-review. So I'm going to kind of talk about that review, but I've taken it off the system because it was so bad. I know that my videos are not that great or that interesting or that well produced right now, but you will have to look back at some of my older videos to see how bad they were in that time. But anyways, really happy to review this wine after 3 years. I reviewed it in September of 2020 when I first started this channel. So Clos Floridene is owned by Denis and Florence Dubourdieu, and so they own a number of wineries, and they are really value wine producers that really specialize in that, providing great value for Bordeaux drinkers. So the name is kind of a play on their two names, Floridene, so Florence and Denis, right? So Floridene. They purchased it, I think, in 1982. It was really small at that time, only about 2 hectares, and basically it was mostly white wine grapes. And then they added 13 hectares to it in 1992 by picking up the purchase of a chateau called Chateau Reynon. It's now they have about 40 hectares in the Grave appellation. So the blend is basically 73% Cabernet Sauvignon, 25% Merlot, and 2% Cabernet Franc. And in total right now, they have about 40 hectares in the Grave region, and their wines are aged 12 months in oak. About a third of it is new oak. And I talked about this a little bit in my first video about this wine. Sometimes people will say, well, only a third is new oak, is that bad? That may not be bad because maybe the wine itself isn't that strong. And so if you put it all in new oak, perhaps it will be overpowering the wine. So they know what they're doing with these value wines. And for people that like value wines, this is a great deal. It's usually, I purchased this in liquor stores at $40 a couple of years ago, the 2017 vintage. I think the most recent vintage, I think 2018, 2019, maybe at $45, really reasonable. Unfortunately, this year with the 2020 release, I don't believe we're getting any of it here in BC, but it's really always a great producer of value for Bordeaux. Until recently, it was, although wines were kind of assembled and vinified and at their kind of neighboring winery that they own called Chateau Reynon. But their renovation work completed in 2018, and now they have all their facilities, winemaking facilities at the winery, along with a building, tasting house, and everything, the works. So it's a great story of how they've built up a winery and a really good producer that gives a lot of value. So for people that like value Bordeaux, this is a really respectable kind of winery, and I really like this type of wine. You know, sometimes you might find me a little bit down on value Bordeaux and you don't learn a lot. I think this is a very quality wine, and so again, it's not a growth wine, but it's not meant to be. It's meant to be fairly easy drinking, provide you good value. And you know, we're not going to age this 10 years, but it's very interesting because my note in 2020 when I first drank it was, I'm just reading from exceptional value, needs another 2 years before hitting drinking window, good balance after 8 hours out of the bottle, black pepper, gamey, black plums, blackberries on the aroma, on the palate, still tannic, good acidity, black plums, licorice and tobacco. 88 points, but will improve in 1 to 2 years. The wine spectator rating on this wine is 90 points. I did not keep the cork of this wine, so here's the label, very simple. Again, Clos Floridene, named after Florence and Denis Dubourdieu. The color, I'd say it shows a little bit, slight sign of aging, a little bit, you can see a little bit of browning around the edges, but still vibrant. So let's see how it's drinking now. I will let you know it's been open now for a good part of probably 6 hours. I did drink it with some friends this afternoon. We had it with the 2017 Le Chapelle, the Mission d'Aubrion, a much more expensive wine. And about half the people really enjoyed this wine in terms of just the overall, when it first came out of the bottle. We decanted both wines, but this was everyone found this very, very accessible. As it wore on, I think people started to like the Le Chapelle a little bit better. But, you know, it was most people really enjoyed this wine. So now it's been out. We decanted it. I had it with friends and then put about a quarter back into this bottle, put it in my, corked it, and then took it home. So it's been sitting on my counter kind of for about 8 hours in the bottle, and I've just reported it out now. So it's well aired at this point. So on the aroma, it's quite floral. It's got some candied elements to it, like a candy shop, confectionery elements, red fruit, and some, I would say almost some a floral element. I can't identify the actual flower, but maybe even roses. But I would say medium intensity in terms of the aroma. I still get some peppery elements to this wine. Good fruit. The tannins are very resolved at this point. Very easy drinking at this point. I would say medium tannins. Good acidity, medium plus acidity. And then on the aftertaste, I'm feeling a little bit of chocolate, like milk chocolate. Very smooth taste. I think it's now in its drinking window. When I drank it 3 years ago, it was very tight, I felt, but now it's really quite nice and easy drinking. I don't think there's really any point of aging it longer, although it could go, I think, another 3 to 5 years easily, but it's really drinking very nicely right now. I'd say it's very close to the, I can see why Wine Inspector rate this 90 points. I'd put it around 89 points at this point. Really nice wine, drinking very nicely. So I'm really enjoying this wine. And just a side note about the 2017 vintage, I am finding the 2017 vintage is probably going to drink pretty early for most wines. They're ready to go, although they will have some strength, but I think they will be accessible now in this window. Most wines, I would say, other than maybe the top end wines, will be starting to be quite accessible, as is in the case with this wine. I think it's in its drinking window. Very nice color, very pleasant drink. Hope you enjoyed this tasting. Until next time, happy drinking.